Hello, everybody, and welcome to Variant Edition's new releases show. My name is Brandon, and I forgot what I was doing. I hope that you're all having a good day. Things have been going out pretty well here. There was a small week of comics, so I got done a lot of things pretty early. And I got a few other bits and bobs planned and locked in place. There's going to be some really cool stuff happening both in the store and around our socials in the next little while. And one of those things we're going to share with you in a little bit here. But first, I'm going to get the music on because I forgot to do that while I was getting everything ready. Turns out, as I was trying to get the video that I'm going to share with you guys up and ready, it was too big to pop onto here, so I had to figure out something else, basically downloading it onto a Google Drive to get up to here. It was all kinds of fun. I loved it, and I have no notes about the process of what happened today. But outside of that, things have been going pretty chill. And by chill, I mean it's cold as fuck right now. Which, you know, we're all trying to deal with. Okay. I just realized what was happening here. Still good? We going? Oh, man. Why? Come on. Come on, little baby. You've got this. There we are. Technical difficulties abound today. And hopefully that's not a sign of things to come for what we've got on tap here. But I wanted to talk with all y'all today, as I always do on Tuesdays, going over some new comics. Not a huge stack. In fact, for single issues this week, it is just a wee scant baby. One new number one that's hitting our shelves. Because February is usually pretty light for this kind of thing, although there's some bangers coming out in March. As part of that, you'll be seeing a video in a little bit here from earlier today. It's a piece of what I put up, or what I recorded with Deniz Camp, who is the writer of Ultimates right now. This is the first volume that's come out, and this is part of the new Ultimate Universe line that launched last year at Marvel. Helmed by Jonathan Hickman. The Ultimates in here is done by Deniz Camp, with bits contributed from Jonathan Hickman, Juan Frigeri, Phil Noto, Stefano Caselli, Federico Blee, and David Curiel. So the back pitch for this, a new era for the Ultimate Universe and its mightiest heroes. 6 months ago, Tony Stark, aka Iron Lad, sent Peter Parker a radioactive spider to set him back on course to become Spider-Man. Since then, Stark, Captain America, Doom, Thor, and Sif have begun to do the same for others, building a network of superpowered heroes hungry for change. Now they must band together to destroy the Maker's Council and restore freedom and free will to a world ruled from the shadows. Together they are the Ultimates. But when Cap reckons that with the Maker's dismantling of nations by visiting the White House, it leads to a massive brawl with the deadly Midas, who's been holding a superhuman hostage as a power source. The search for answers will lead the Ultimates to confront the Council's most powerful member, the Hulk. So what this book series does is it explores the Marvel Universe in a very interesting way. And Dennis is going to talk about that in a little bit as we put this up here. But outside of that, it is a great series of one-off stories that are kind of really building pieces of a whole. And it's about sort of our modern experiences, all of us really trying to push things through, while there does seem to be sort of at least power that is almost unassailable, and trying to find ways to assail it, basically. So I'm very excited for folks to get their hands on this. What do we got here? Deniz Camp was recently on off panel. So what I've done and what I'll be doing with a lot of these creator interviews is I'm going to talk with them and I'm going to split them up in little bits. You'll see parts of them kind of filtering out over the next weeks. One of the things I really wanted to do was talk about a series of his called Assorted Crisis Events. Deniz sent the first 5 issues, not quite complete, but the first 5 issues worth of story to retailers. I was able to read the first 3 and they're absolutely amazing. We'll be talking about that more over the weeks to come, and you'll be seeing some of that on our socials and whatnot. This week, I decided to pop out the section that we were talking about Ultimates because, well, Ultimates 1 is out and issue 9 is out for folks who are champing at the bit for stories. And you know what? I'm just going to throw it to the presentation and we will see A, if this works, and B, how Deniz looks at the series and even how he started getting on the series. The first volume of Ultimates is out this week, as well as Ultimates number 9. I want you to talk a little about your experience of getting on the book. How did that happen?
Yeah, I just got it was actually very simple. It was based off of 20th Century Men. Will Moss, the editor, emailed me and just said, do you want to write the Ultimates? And question mark. And then I responded, tell me more. And he didn't respond for a few days. And he later said he had family stuff, which is very understandable. But for me, was at the time a little bit like, what's going on? Did he just offer me this and then decide against it? Which I thought would have been really funny and joked about a lot with my wife. And then it was just, and then I sent in a pitch and to Will, and then he sent it in to like everybody at Marvel, which I didn't know was a thing that was going to happen. So that was a little bit intimidating, or all the higher ups at Marvel. And so I got back notes from everybody, and they were all really positive and encouraging. And so was off to the races. And we've just been plugging along since. And yeah, we're now on issue 9, which feels amazing. I'm really proud of the work that we've been able to do over those 9 issues and that we have coming up.
What I really like about this series is while you have sort of this big looming foreboding thing hanging out in the background, you're using the canvas of this alternate universe to explore different corners of characters, but also sort of different ideas. How did you stumble across, how did you come up with that kind of approach?
Yeah, stumble across is just as good as any other way of describing my process, for sure. I just knew that there was going to be a lot of first of all, I love done in ones, I think, or I like my number one, my issues to have a beginning, middle, and end. That doesn't always mean number ones, but it means some sense of closure. And so anytime I can do that in a monthly comic, I try to do that. 2, I thought, okay, we have a whole universe at our disposal. That was what was told to me, basically. It's like, the X-Men characters are gone, like the X-Men characters are for the X-Men and whatnot, but even those aren't off limits if I want to use them, and so I was like, okay, well, as long as I coordinate. And then so it was like, well, how can I use this to its fullest? Well, how can I make this feel special relative to all the other superhero comics, all the other Marvel comics, all the other Ultimates comics, Avengers comics that you've read? And I felt like, okay, if every issue we meet a new character and we reveal more about this world through this character, but we also get to set up this new version of a classic character that you love, wouldn't that be a really cool and fun structure? And wouldn't that let me get to play with a lot of different ideas and a lot of different formal structures and issue structures and what have you, and tell complete stories and also build this world and build this team all at once, and so the idea of, and then it was also this idea of, the original Ultimates, they were hunting terrorists. It was like a government squad that was hunting terrorists, and this squad of Ultimates are terrorists, or at least they're perceived to be. And so that was I felt a really fun inversion. And once I had those 2 things, it was like, yeah, okay, let's do it for sure.
I do really enjoy the inversion of those ideas, because in a lot of ways, there is an inversion of those ideas that have happened in the real world around us too.
For sure.
And what I also like is with each of these issues, the way they've crafted them, you've developed a system where I find that every month somebody comes in and goes, that was my favorite issue. And it's different people having different experiences, like you're saying. And when you get a chance to explore these kind of finite ideas, even with this more infinite canvas, I'm finding that you're connecting with people in little ways just along the way. And so this series has been doing incredibly well. I'm very happy to have a collected edition to be able to put into people's hands this week, because I do think that everyone's going to get something different out of there, but everyone's going to get something great.
Thank you so much for saying that, and that's wonderful to hear. It's hard for me to know how the book is doing, because everyone's so nice, but people are going to be nice. And so, but I've had that anecdotally, I've had that same experience of, different people loving one issue and then not liking the other one as much, and like saying this one's my favorite. And like, we had one that was like kind of a big issue 8 was this big cosmic thing. And like some people really, really were into that, and some people really, really weren't. And my theory is that, like, well, we're doing something new and different every time, and we're putting in the work to make it interesting. And so, if you don't like one, like, come back for the next one, and I bet, or there's a solid chance that you will like what we're doing, and we're certainly doing our best to make that happen. And so, even if you loved 8 and maybe 9 isn't your thing, but give 10 a try. And there's for somebody who reads all the issues, you're going to get a lot more out of it. Like I promise, everything, just as everything crescendoed in issue 6 and kind of led to issue 6 and all the other things that seem disparate and not connected, I think kind of you saw how they all fit together. So you'll see that with 12, and you'll see that again and again, where if you read everything, you're really going to get a really intricate tapestry. But if you can only pick up an issue, or you only want to pick up an issue here or there, you can still really get something out of it, which is what I'm really proud of.
What I really like that you've been doing, it's a different approach of the everyone comic. Everyone knows, a lot of people always talk about, well, comics should be for everyone. And I've come to a conclusion these days that while I think comics can be for everyone, they should be for anyone.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just a slight difference, but like you're saying, when you're building your stories, you're not kind of sanding off the edges. You are telling deliberate stories, sometimes focused on like what you're trying to get across, but in a lot of ways, just like compartmentalizing these different ideas and getting them across to people.
Yeah, I mean, I also just think that you can get at the universal through the specific,
Mm-hmm.
and so is if you're making something that is as true as you can make it, even if somebody doesn't agree with you on like a point that you're making, or isn't usually the kind of thing that they like, and if you're doing it at a high level and you're doing, you're putting serious work into your craft about it, I still think people can get a lot out of it. Just if you like the political stuff, then that's there for you, and if you don't, I still think you're getting really cool adventure stories, for the most part.
Exactly. And why I like that kind of storytelling so much, at least as a retailer, there will everyone's favorite book is generally very specific to them. There's and with this Ultimates run, specific issues are what are keying into people. So as you sort of attack these ideas, you're actually getting this blanket of people who are now connected with the work, because you have a good purpose of why the story is being told and what direction things are going in. That works for Ultimates, and it works for your upcoming assorted crisis events. Like it's these different levels of doing it, one within the structure and one within the other structure, that because you're being specific, because what you're saying is specific, that's where you get people reading and connected for life.
Yeah, exactly. I would rather have a few people really, really connect with my work than a lot of people kind of just being on it, or that's okay, And so I'm definitely not trying to make these aren't comics made by committee or anything like that. It's really, really an expression of the creators, who are on it, and not just me, but everybody. And I'm really, that's why I'm so proud of them, and why I love doing this so much.
Well, that was Deniz Camp. I'm very sorry I muted myself because I'm just trying to figure out all these logistics. I'll get better at it as it goes. But that was him talking about how Ultimates is going and how he's approaching the storytelling there. I really think that it is connecting with a lot of people. I really think that if you haven't read the series and what you heard spoke to you in any way, you should definitely check it out. It's a great run. Over the next weeks, we will be talking with Deniz more about a variety of his works, but mostly focusing on his upcoming Assorted Crisis events, which is going to knock your socks off, honestly. Truly one of the best reads that I've read all year. And the third issue is still affecting me, even though it's been like a week and a half since I've read it. It is an outstanding piece of work that I am extremely proud to have as part of the line that we carry here at Variant Edition. And yeah, I am feeling very out of sorts. I don't know why. Should probably continue on with Little Stacky. I told you there's not much in the way of single issue number ones this week, and it is very true. We have this. We've got Legacy of Vader number 1. This is focusing on young Mr. Kylo Ren here, back in his big era, being a dick, and definitely focuses on that timeline around where you're getting like Rise of Skywalker and just Kylo Ren in general, the third trilogy. The story is by Charles Soule with art by, I believe, Luke Ross. They're very familiar with the Star Wars books. Charles Soule was actually the shepherd of the main Star Wars book for the past few years as they explored the time in between episodes 5 and 6. And the current era of Star Wars books is kicking off right now. So does he keep taking his shirt off in the comics as well? You know what? I didn't see it. I didn't see it happen. But I bet it's gonna. Because, boy, that boy loved to do it. All right. Something else cool that we're going to talk about this week. This is something that we were one of very few stores that ended up getting copies. But I'm really excited because I love comics journalism. I love it in all its forms. And we've got the first edition of the Comics Courier here. It's a newspaper style that is selling. We're selling it here for $10. It was like $9 American on the Kickstarter. And it's ran by Tiffany Babb, who does a lot of great comics journalism. And she's gathered a lot of people to talk about a whole bunch of different stories. Some of them are about modern books. Some of them are about books from the past, and kind of touching on all corners of the comics industry. You even have this story here, The Young Romance and the Fight Against Fascism. It's a feature story about an old romance comic that is very unkind to, say, Nazi ideals. Is pretty good. And you get a little bit about some different art stylings that John Byrne employed lately. Some Nick Fury comparing Kirby with Steranko. And there's a feature interview with Patrick Horvath, who is of Beneath the Trees of Nobody Sees fame. And it's a good read. I was able to page through it, and I'm always up for more interesting ways to get comics journalism out there. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. All right, moving on. We've got also just a small little stacky of collected editions coming out here. One that I'm extremely excited for people to read is Into the Unbeing Part 1. This is incredibly creepy. I love this book so much. It is from Zach Thompson with art from Hayden Sherman, who you might know from doing the art for Absolute Wonder Woman. He's actually also doing the art for Batman Dark Patterns right now. And the second part of this series, he's drawing 3 books right now. Naturally, he's going to take a 2-issue break on Absolute Wonder Woman, but he is the principal artist on these series, and they're all just happening, and they all feature amazing different stylings. As you can see here, this has some of the Absolute Wonder Woman leanings, but like definitely very creepy. So we'll let the back explain it, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about my experience with it too. A group of climate scientists working in a remote base camp on the Australian outback discover an impossible landform. Led by botanist Hildur Johansson, the team sets out to conduct a routine exploratory mission to map the terrain, record their observations, and try and understand this anomalous landscape. They arrive expecting the unexpected, and the unbeing delivers. The expedition discovers a massive, entirely novel, giant holobionte. That's probably a very scientific term that I'm not wrapping my brain around, that threatens to upend everything they understand about the natural world. Propelled by hubris and the intoxicating charm of forbidden knowledge, the research team descends into a hostile alien environment, allowed to thrive without human interference. The beautiful yet unforgiving landscape hosts strange flora, gorgeous fauna, and dangerous predators lurking in the darkness. As the team pushes deeper, can they survive long enough to find what they're looking for? What I really liked about this series is when they're going into the unbeing. You're looking around at the landscape and you're seeing shapes, but you're also not quite sure that you're seeing these shapes. You're almost wondering if you're seeing things, imagining things as they traverse this landscape. And you start to realize that, no, you're seeing what you're seeing, and it's all taking more solid form, which is, scarier and scarier as it goes. We also have Marvel's attempt at doing a DC Compact line. Now, you might know the DC Compact line. We have a bunch of them in the store. They're $10 American, $13.50 Canadian right now. And they feature usually about 12 issues or more worth of great stories in a single volume. So you'll have the complete Hush there. You'll have the complete Far Sector that N.K. Jemisin did with Jamal Campbell, and a host of others. Well, Marvel's getting in on the game because DC had such success with this that they've kicked up a line of their own. They are a little bit wider and taller and a little bit more expensive. They're $15 American, $18 Canadian. And this volume is the entire first year of the Ta-Nehisi Coates run of Black Panther. You might know Ta-Nehisi Coates from other aspects of the world, as he is a National Book Award winner, a New York Times bestselling author, a national correspondent for The Atlantic, and the recipient of a Genius Grant from the MacArthur Foundation. This brings his considerable talents to Marvel, ushering in a new age of glory for Wakanda and its king T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, in a character-defining run featuring art by the inimitable Brian Stelfreeze and fan favorite Chris Sprouse. When a superhuman terrorist group sparks a violent uprising in Wakanda, the kingdom famed for its incredible technology and proud traditions will be thrown into turmoil like never before. Black Panther knows that if Wakanda is to survive, it must adapt. But will he be able to make it through the transition alive? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. So yeah, 12 issues for $18 is still nothing to sneeze at. Really good, and especially if you wanted to try this run, it's a great way to do it. The other book in the line that they put out so far is Daredevil Born Again. Now they're doing this because it does seem like the new Daredevil series that will be airing on Disney Plus very soon is borrowing a lot from this run. This is Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli who put this together. Karen Page, Matt Murdock's former lover, has traded away his secret identity for a drug fix. Now, Daredevil must find all the strength he can muster as Wilson Fisk, the kingpin of crime, wastes no time taking him down as low as a human can get. As he's nursed back to health by a nun named Sister Maggie, Matt discovers a shocking secret that will change their relationship forever. But can he piece his life back together and survive a battle against the super brutal super soldier named Nuke? From the powerhouse pairing of Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli comes this definitive Daredevil tale. Now, you don't just get the Daredevil story in this, you actually get a lot of art process pages and I believe a full script to an issue. That includes all of the typewriter setting and scribbles and corrections and whatnot, which is really cool to see, as well as the different covers. And you're also getting an introduction both from Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil, and Frank Miller. And finally this week, we've got a book that I've been waiting to come out for a long time. And also, there is a McEwen class that will be using it as part of their texts, exploring a sort of more apocalyptic sci-fi fiction. And we've helped them out procure this because it was really hard to get. And if they'd waited for the book market to get it, it would be way later in February, weeks after they'd really be able to do this properly. But we were very happy to grab a whole bunch of copies of Traveling to Mars. This is a new Mark Russell, who I love, with Roberto Melli doing the art. Traveling to Mars tells the story of a former pet store manager, Roy Livingston, the first human to ever set foot on Mars. Roy was chosen for this unlikely mission for one simple reason. He is terminally ill and therefore has no expectation of returning. Roy is joined on this mission to Mars by Leopold and Albert, two Mars rovers equipped with artificial intelligence, who look upon the dying pet store manager as a sort of god, against the backdrop of not only his waning days, but those of human civilization himself. Roy has ample time to think about where things went wrong for both him and what it means to be a dying god. A riveting story of planetary exploration and of finding meaning in your final days. This has a ton of different awards. It's in the top 100 on CBR from 2023, one of the best comics in 2023 from Comics Beat, and a whole bunch of high awarded reviews. I always love Mark Russell. He is great at taking different stories and applying kind of real life ideas to them and making you feel much like Deniz Camp, actually, but in very different ways. So I'm very excited for folks to get into that. That's a whole 11 issue run there, and that's going to do it for today. Next week is going to be the premiere of whatever I decide to call the thing where I decide things. It could even be a version of the thing that I call the thing where I decide things. Could be. Who knows? I want this to be sort of like an ongoing segment. So if you have any comic related things that you want decided, or any pop culture things in general, is it characters fighting? Is it just sort of pop culture takes in general? You will get definitive decisions through me as a conduit of the universe. They are nothing that I have control over, just the ideas that the universe has approved. So if there's anything you disagree with, please, not my fault. It is, again, the universe, as I am just the conduit. There is actually, in downtown Edmonton, there's a apartment complex called Brandon Court, and I've always wanted to take a picture of myself in front of it. Maybe do that and just underlay like a like the People's Court, full on, Maybe I do that. Who knows? Maybe I enter the room each time when I decide things. Welcome to Brandon Court. But Brandon Court's a little too specific. I don't know. All right, folks. Thank you all for watching this nonsense. As always, I do appreciate all of you for being here. Please note that as of tomorrow, young Mr. Gregory is pretty much full-time here at Variant Edition, as he will be working the Wednesdays as well. So you'll be able to see Craig here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I am off on Saturdays. I'm here on Sundays. Our store hours are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 to 7, Saturday, Sunday, 11 to 5. And you'll be able to find one of us here at least. I'm also working on trying to get to the store earlier so that I can get things done during normal people hours. But it's proving a little bit tasky here in the days of gray and cold. So we will see. Thank you all for watching the show. I hope that you all enjoyed our little chat with Deniz Camp. We will be putting up more clips from our conversation with Deniz over the coming weeks, and we are hoping to not just use them to promote his books in our store, but to offer resources to the industry for those looking to sell some of his stuff. His books are amazing. I'm really excited for Assorted Crisis Events. You will be hearing about it a lot because I really enjoy it. And we might be working out a big event around the first issue. Just in contact with some people right now, and we're going to see what we can do. It would be a pretty cool thing to happen at Variant Edition in the new year, and we're hoping to do a lot more of that kind of stuff. So with that little tease at the end there, I hope that you are all doing well, and if you're not doing well, I hope that you know that we are absolutely here for you. Stop by, warm up, get some comics, and a little bit of commiseration, pop culture talk, and just warm thoughts in general. All right, folks, thanks again for checking out the show. We will talk to you all again soon. Bye.